Bewege dich langsam, es könnte gefährlich sein. Ja, und ich klicke einmal und er läuft sofort? Na, was haben wir denn hier, wenn das nicht die Maiglöckchen sind? Überall um dich herum blühen kleine weiße Blumen. Mein Schlauchboot. Es ist kaputt, die Luft ist entwichen. Okay, ich glaube, da kommt nichts weiter. Oder? Ja, nee. Okay. Und hat die Tatwaffe in der Hand. Der hat die Tatwaffe in der Hand. Ja, ich kann auch nirgendwo anders hin. Wo, langsam, langsam.
An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
Sie haben immer noch gute Augen.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains motionless.
Ich bin Polizist. Sie können die Waffe behalten, aber richten Sie sie auf den Boden. Und keine Bewegung.
No.
Der Lieutenant richtet seine Pistole direkt auf den Kopf des Mannes und sagt:
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
Du nimmst das im Sand liegende Gewehr.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stopped and patched in places with tape and wire.
Du untersuchst die Waffe genauer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burned into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
Das ist eine Triangon, hergestellt in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangon, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
Oh ja, das Ding verschießt Mantelgeschosse mit Kaliber 4,46 mm.
The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this.
Du steckst das Gewehr weg.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Wer sind Sie?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the Fourth Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
Seine Augen wenden sich wieder dem Schilf zu, tot und ausdruckslos.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Sie sind schon 43 Jahre auf der Insel?
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in '18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
Nochmal, Sie halten sich seit 43 Jahren versteckt?
43 years and 10 months.
Das ist so lang wie mein ganzes Leben.
It's too long. It's not how a human being should live. But I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting.
Worauf?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
Ich komme von dort. Du zeigst in Richtung Festland. Ich kann Ihnen versichern, das planen die Leute dort bestimmt nicht. Ich war dort. Die Stadt ist ein Pulverfass. Es kann auch immer passieren.
It won't. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
Sie haben gesagt, Sie wären aus Ihrer Einheit desertiert?
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Eine Glaubenskrise.
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took
Eine Sekunde wofür?
for reaction to take hold.
Was ist das Reaktionäre?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
Das war nichts Reaktionäres. Sie hatten einfach nur Angst.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
Der Lieutenant schaute instinktiv auf sein Notizbuch, holte es aber nicht hervor.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark Magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
Sie sind aber nicht in den Kartenraum gegangen.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
Was war das für ein Geräusch?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Some kind of great terror, worse than you've ever seen.
Was haben Sie gesehen?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love, all the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
Know what?
That the bourgeois are not human.
Du sagst nichts, du lässt ihn ausreden.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
Der alte Mann verstummt. Seine dunklen Augen durchdringen nach wie vor deine Haut, während er in irgendeine entlegene Ferne starrt und langsam den Kopf schüttelt, sich davon zurückzieht. Wo sind wir hier? Diese Insel...
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
Wozu hat sie früher gedient?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing, against the whole world.
Meinen Sie die Landung? Die Wiedereroberung von Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, Who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
Jemand, der diesem Wahnsinn ein Ende setzen möchte. Mörder. Ich weiß, was Sie meinen. Erstens, ich gehöre nicht zu denen. Oder Koalitionsmilitär. Mörder. Ich weiß, was Sie meinen.
You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis,
Iblis?
the black-eyed angel.
Wie haben Sie denn hier so lange überlebt?
How does anyone survive? I steal
Und was stehlen Sie so?
supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail, gaunt for his age, more like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
We also have Druamine.
Wer macht Druamin und andere opioid-basierte Schmerzmittel? Sie haben doch Schmerzen, oder?
I have been running out of that stuff.
In seinen Augen geht ein Licht an. Er schmatzt mit den trockenen Lippen.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
Wie kommen Sie damit klar? Also mental.
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
Seine Augen drehen sich in seinen Schädel und wieder zurück.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
Du bemerkst, dass der Lieutenant gerade etwas sagen will.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Er sieht dich mit seinem von Sand und Wind ausgedörrten Gesicht an. Irgendwo darin verbirgt sich eine schmerzverzerrte Miene.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
Wie haben Sie sich die ganze Zeit versteckt gehalten?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead.
Wie sind Sie von hier aufs Festland gelangt?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
Verstummt. Sein Blick bleibt an den Hütten hängen, die auf der anderen Seite des Wassers zusammengepfercht stehen. Es gibt einen kleinen Bunker unten im Feldgebäude. Haben Sie sich dort aufgehalten?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Sie haben sich umgebracht.
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
Das Waffenversteck unter der Saint-Ghislain 22b. Du zeigst dorthin. Im Keller. Waren Sie schon mal dort?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
Ja, richtig.
Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
Eine Frage noch. Brauchen Sie Zigaretten der Marke Diomotiri?
I do.
Haben Sie schon mal auf dem Festland geraucht?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
Sprechen wir über etwas anderes.
The old man looks across the water at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
Sie haben gesagt, dies sei Ihre bedingungslose Kapitulation?
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
Sind wir nicht. Wir sind nicht von der Koalition ernannt. Wir versuchen einfach nur Menschen zu helfen.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
Die Kommunaden haben die Kapitulationsurkunde für Revachol unterzeichnet.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
he just wipes the blood from his chin.
Verstehe.
I don't think you did. You live in a delusion. Radio shows, speed racing and sporting goods. It's not real.
Ich habe noch eine Frage an Sie. Eine ernste.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
Beherrschung ist mies. Wofür benutzen Sie dieses Gewehr?
I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay, okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
Das heißt also, dass sie Menschen getötet haben, nachdem die Kampfhandlungen eingestellt worden waren?
What did I just say?
Er schüttelt seinen Kopf immer weiter, plötzlich erratisch. Er reibt sich etwas aus dem Auge.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
Aber haben die nicht gerade gesagt, er soll das erstmal wiederholen? Come on. Ja, Moment mal, was soll ich denn jetzt sagen? Ja, really.
Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you. And in them, a chill, like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
All is not as it seems.
Detective.
Haben Sie mit diesem Gewehr einen Colonel der privaten Sicherheitsfirma Cronell erschossen?
The who now?
Er lehnt sich zu dir und hält sich eine Hand hinters Ohr.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
Die Leiche in der Keramikrüstung, die hinter dem Whirling in Wrack hängt. Haben Sie den Mann erschossen?
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
Plötzlich geht der Lieutenant einen Schritt auf ihn zu.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
Wir haben das Ergebnis der ballistischen Untersuchung. Der Schuss kam von der Insel.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
Eins noch. Wo ist das Zielfernrohr? Wie haben Sie den Schuss ohne eins geschafft? Sonst hätten wir alles.
Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on.
Sie haben Faschis erwähnt. Geben Sie zu, ihn getötet zu haben?
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
Er wedelt mit der einen Hand. Ein Zucken, dann noch eins mit seinem rechten Auge.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
Komm schon. Was habe ich nur vergessen?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Ausgezeichnet.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinaise have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up.
Natürlich. Danke, Kopf. Danke.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Hinter dem Fenster des Opfers befanden sich viele Maiglöckchen.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
Ich habe diese Blumen nirgendwo sonst in Martinaise gesehen. Nur hier.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinaise is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
Ein eigentümliches Zucken überläuft sein Gesicht. Eine junge Frau namens Klaasje. Klingelt da was? Diese getrockneten Blumen lagen hinter ihrem Fenster.
Klaasje.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Den Namen hatten Sie noch nicht gehört, oder?
My ears don't reach the city.
Sie kennen sie, oder? Sie hatte eine intime Beziehung mit dem Opfer, dem Söldner.
With the victim.
Er wendet seinen Blick von... Was? Er wendet seinen Blick vom sich weißfärbenden Blumenfeld ab und verstummt. Dann zucken die Muskeln in seinem Kiefer. Ein Spasmus.
There is a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile, yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Almost, but you need one more, just one, or maybe two.
Ich frage mich, welche Marke Schuhe Sie tragen.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dras.
Fucking imbecile.
Der alte Mann streckt sein Bein aus. Ein schwarz-weißes Spiralmuster überdeckt die Sohle an der alten, abgelaufenen Laufschuhe an seinen Füßen.
The maker is called Sansarique, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Moment, vielleicht gibt es ja eine ganz einfache Erklärung.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Manchmal zieht man ja auch andere Schuhe an. Das bedeutet also nicht, dass sie nicht trotzdem dort in der Nähe des Zimmers, in dem das Opfer zu Tode kam, herumgeschlichen sind.
Racking those brains, are you? desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last little push.
Aber ich hab nichts. Ach so, ja doch, die Patronen. Sie müssen nicht mit mir zusammenarbeiten. Ich habe das hier. Du zeigst ihm die Triangon 4,46 mm.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your musketeer pistols. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons, eh? Going against automatic rifles with a flame bomb. Of course you got all those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting.
Hören Sie auf, das Thema zu wechseln. Wir haben die Mordwaffe. Du zeigst auf das Gewehr.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
Der Lieutenant schaut demonstrativ auf die Mordwaffe. Du fragst dramatisch. Glauben Sie, dass wir die Mordwaffe haben?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
Gut, dann nenne ich das Kind beim Namen. Wir haben die Mordwaffe.
Good.
Der Lieutenant holt sein Notizbuch hervor und zieht einen einzelnen Strich.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
Der alte Mann sagt kein weiteres Wort. Er sieht einfach ins Schilf und zuckt noch einmal.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
Er war ein Vergewaltiger. Ich sage nicht, dass er es nicht verdient hätte. Nee, weiß ich nicht. Ich bin davon nicht überzeugt. Aber wobei, also vielleicht nicht bei Klaas hier, aber vorher schon. Soweit wir wissen. Er war ein Mörder. Aber er stand trotzdem unter dem Schutz des Gesetzes. Er war auch ein Soldat. Er war ein Mensch. Da wird er uns nicht zustimmen. Die Frage ist, was sagen wir jetzt? Ich glaube, ich gehe mit dem ersten.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Also, haben Sie ihn erschossen?
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
Du kannst fast sehen, wie er sich eine Träne aus dem Auge quetscht. Seine Fäuste beginnen vor Wut zu zittern.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling. While the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Du nickst nur.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
There, a hot flash of rage almost carries the smile away. Some dark peace.
Und dann?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
Der Lieutenant holt sein Notizbuch heraus. Langsam. Sehr langsam.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
Er zuckt mit den Schultern und schmatzt mit den Lippen.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Warum haben Sie sie eigentlich in jener Nacht beobachtet?
I'm always looking.
Er legt den Kopf zur Seite und wendet seine Augen zur Stadt. Wieder geht ein Zucken durch seine rechte Seite, wenn auch weniger stark.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle's scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it?
Wenn es zu der Scheiße gehört, die Sie im Blick behalten,
Then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Was genau von dem, was Sie in der Mordnacht gesehen haben, hat Ihnen denn nicht gefallen?
Them fucking. I didn't like that.
Na schön.
Splat. A bloody spitball lands on the firewood.
Ich glaube nicht, dass er eifersüchtig war. Ich hätte ihn danach fragen können, aber Haben Sie noch andere Dinge angesehen, die Ihnen nicht gefallen haben?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back.
Etwas konkreter?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
Wieso das denn?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that social democratic union and the farce of a social democrat who runs it.
Herr Claire?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Lass ihn ausreden. Unterbrich ihn nicht.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol, at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. Intense, like animals. Like those boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
War's das?
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
Na schön.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt Frisell is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores.
Das folgt ist ominöses Gemurmel. Du kannst nicht ein einziges Wort verstehen.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter.
Ich denke, wir haben genug von ihm gehört, oder? Also, wie gut, dass wir darüber noch gesprochen haben.
Glad? It's all gone.
Ich denke, Josef Liljanowitsch Dross, ich nehme Sie wegen des dringenden Tatverdachts des Mordes an Elis Cortenea vorläufig fest.
Is what you plan to say. Before you can get past, you're under. The lieutenant interrupts you.
Officer, are we sure? We could maybe get more.
Eine Sache noch, Dross.
The old man looks at his rifle in your hands, a little startled for some reason. You startled him. Maybe it was the silence. He quickly gathers himself. Still, what could he be afraid of?
Okay, wir versuchen seine Körpersprache zu beurteilen. Das wird halt nicht funktionieren.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild,
Geht es ihm erstaunlich gut.
indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
Wodurch?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair.
Demenz?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
Könnte sein Jezorn nicht ein Nebenprodukt seines Lebens sein?
Perhaps, but his seems more than that. The inner turmoil takes unexpected turns, as if forced on him in a way. In summary, you sense some underlying neurological disorder.
Nehmen Sie irgendwelche psychoaktiven Substanzen?
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
You said you take painkillers.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor.
He is indeed very lucid at times. It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Was ist mit Pyrrolidon?
I don't know what that is.
Amphetamine?
Like some kind of decadent rock star.
Geht es Ihnen gut? Wie steht es um Ihr Gedächtnis?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
Ich möchte Sie noch einmal zu den Leuten befragen, die Sie nicht mögen.
His lip curls into a sneer at the memory.
Ah, here we go again. Disco-Schlampen?
Horse.
Sie haben gesagt, dass die Gewerkschaft sozialdemokratisch sei und Herr Clare eine Parodie eines Sozialdemokraten.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
Wer ist eine Enttäuschung? Wrack Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Ist der Wrack nicht der Leiter der Gewerkschaft?
That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
Sie haben mit Edgar gesprochen?
First against the wall with him.
Mittlerweile hat er damit aufgehört, in der Asche zu stochern. Jetzt schüttelt er nur noch den Kopf.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
Sind Sie auf Sie zugegangen?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
Wann war das?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
Worüber haben Sie gesprochen?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Mazov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Mazov. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
Und er hat Sie hier leben lassen?
Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Herr Dross, haben Sie den Grenell-Söldner für die Clares getötet, um einen Aufstand anzuzetteln?
I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something.
Was haben Edgar und er ausgemacht?
Oh no,
Oh,
the
fuck.
connection doesn't come to you on such a pivotal moment. Dumbo, do something. You can't zone out now. This isn't Doodaloo dance time. Slap yourself in the head again. Jumpstart it.
Okay, Jumpstarted. Irgendetwas mit dem Gewerkschaftsboss. Du schlägst dir gegen den Kopf.
Officer,
Der Lieutenant sieht zu, wie du dir gegen den Kopf schlägst. Schon wieder. Das zweite Mal in dieser Befragung.
Mr. Dross, about this deal you made with Edgar. The death of the colonel mercenary was only coincidentally beneficial to the Clares. But what about the other people you've killed for them?
Other people?
Like the previous 4 women of the Union.
That's it. That's what you weren't connecting yourself.
I didn't fight 40 years to end up an informant for the international regime. What happened, happened.
Still dumb. Your eyes are transfixed on his digit. It's yellow with nicotine. Before, when you asked him about the Union, he said it was a disappointment. They promised him something political.
Sie haben ihnen einen Politikwandel versprochen und sie haben ihr Versprechen nicht eingehalten.
Look who's up. You're worse off than me.
We will have plenty of time to talk about this, Mr. Dross, when you're in pre-detention. It takes years in pre-detention.
Go ahead. I've been in solitary confinement my whole life.
Ease off it. This was not an unmitigated disaster. The lieutenant mitigated it. Just proceed, calmly.
Mit dem Hahn, der in seiner Uniform herumstolziert. Meinen Sie doch René, oder?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor.
Also ich weiß ja nicht recht, ob...
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him personally, his make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
Mit einem zitternden Finger zeigt er auf die Stadt, in die Richtung des Kraters in der Nähe des Platzes, auf dem eine einzelne Kiefer steht.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today.
Da ist niemand.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
He whispers with such predatory hunger. It borders on longing.
Sie würden ihn gerne töten?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
A treat. Better served for later. He's a pleasure delayer.
Das Beste zum Schluss, ja?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him there lately. Must be down with arthritis. Old cunt.
Momentarily, he's worried for him. He reminds him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of another thing, but no. It's just the hatred.
Gut, dass wir darüber gesprochen haben.
Glad. It's all gone.
Und jetzt nehme ich Sie wegen des dringenden Tatverdachtes des Mordes an Elis Cortenea vorläufig fest.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But...
Kim, hat Angst.
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
Sieht das Schilf an. Seine Augen ertrinken in wachsender Furcht.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
Du fragst zuerst. Bietet es denn Platz für 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
Aber wer passt auf ihn auf, während ich sie abholen komme?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian. You could ask her, maybe.
Vielleicht kann ich einfach diese Netzfischerin bitten, ein Auge auf ihn zu haben.
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
Okay.
You thought you heard something, but it's just the
Ah,
reeds.
fuck.
Maybe we could all fit in there.
Passen wir denn alle in das kleine Boot?
Actually, no.
Sie könnten mich abholen kommen, nachdem Sie ihn aufs Revier gebracht haben.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
Kein Grund, so höflich zu sein. Ich mache das schon.
This world. What are you talking about? Is this... us?
The wind is cold from the east. Your skin is crawling suddenly.